And I just want to say something about Giannis real quick, adding his jump shot. Maybe a hot take. I don't know. I think if he adds a jump, like a real 3-point shot where he's like a true threat from there, I think we might be talking about a player that's going to have the highest peak of any player in NBA history in terms of skill, more than Jordan. I'm not going to say he's the greatest of all time. He doesn't have the accolades. But in terms of skill and peak, like what can you do to stop him? He's going to get you defensively. If he can knock down like a 3-point shot, he could shoot down a mid-range. He's starting to make his free throws. He's dominant on the inside. What is the flaw in his game if he adds that? He's even not a bad passer. He has the ability if he needs to kick it out to somebody.
Is there a path in which Steph Curry can get to the top 5 greatest of all time?
In my opinion, Domantas Sabonis kind of overrated.
And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for Season 2, Episode 1 of Deep from 3. I'm Devon Withers, alongside Gary Sunnyberger and Isaiah Hansen. Isaiah, I have to start with you because Gary and I already saw that intro. Give us your quick thoughts on that intro, all put together. A new season, fellas.
Now, I don't know if it froze for you guys, but it did freeze for me, like, into, like towards the end of what I was saying. So I didn't see the after that. So I have to, like, go back and watch it. I don't know if it froze for you guys, too. But, Gary, that was better than anything I could come up with.
Oh, don't say that.
No, because you had someone on there that spoke facts for the first 30 seconds, and so I really, that was really cool, man. That was really cool.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You know, I got to put the keyboard wizard over here. It's got to make some edited videos every now and then.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I got to tell you, this was very highly anticipated. We posted that we were going to be on there on recording yesterday. Had to delay it by 24 hours. Gary's Wi-Fi decided to disagree with the whole entire plan, but we are here. We are talking NBA action as we get ready for the start of the regular season. We're going to be talking about everything from title favorites to best offseason moves, from everything that the NBA GMs are saying as part of their survey. But first, I know we've been talking about Gary. We've been off the air for a few weeks, so it sounds like you might need to take us through a little bit of a recap. We designated this time for you to take the floor. So when you're ready, go ahead. Talk to us about what happened over the offseason.
Absolutely. You know me. I tend to go on for a little bit too long. So I'm restricting myself to about 3 minutes. And I say about 3 minutes because you know me. If you've listened to this podcast before, you know I can ramble on for, I don't know, years if you let me. So I'm going to play the music. I'm going to start the NBA offseason recap, and we are ready to go. This music courtesy of, I think, Isaiah added it to our stream, so here we go.
Lord.
All right. 22 NBA offseason recap. We're going to just start with some transactions, some trades. Rudy Gobert goes to the Timberwolves after leaving the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell goes to the Cavaliers, also leaving the Jazz. They're blowing it up over there in Utah. DeJounte Murray joins Trae Young with the Hawks. Jeremy Grant goes to the Trailblazers, and through a questionable, and by questionable I mean Isaiah might be the only person questioning it, Isaiah, your New York Knicks add Jalen Brunson. Now, if that is a transaction you do not like, we will definitely hear about it from you later, but we got to keep it moving. Another thing happened in New York this offseason. Kevin Durant trade request almost tore the Nets apart. They almost fired both Steve Nash and their general manager, but he came back. Kevin Durant's, after a month of deliberation, finally reminded and decided to play for the Nets. Suns owner Robert Sarver faced workplace harassment allegations, forcing him to put the team up for sale. Might go for over $4.5 billion, the most an NBA franchise has ever sold for. And honestly, at this point, if it gets for the price that we're looking at, we could see a drastic change in some sort of... Do NBA teams just start selling now to buy in on that profit and keeping up with that? I got to keep it moving. Ime Udoka out for a year as for misconduct from the Boston Celtics, leaving Joe Mazzulla as the interim head coach. A couple more head coaches this year. Lakers hired Darvin Ham as their new head coach. Devon hopes that he finally gets Russell Westbrook and the head coaching staff on the same page. Hornets hire Steve Clifford as their head coach to replace A guy who I thought was doing pretty well over there, but, at the same time, looking for a little bit more improvement. So Sacramento Kings hire Mike Brown as head coach. Hopefully he can get Domantas Sabonis to play some defense. And the Utah Jazz hire Will Hardy as their head coach. He was an assistant with the Boston Celtics, but he really won't have much expectations after the Utah Jazz look to blow it up this year. In some draft news, the Magic draft Paolo Banchero, number 1 overall. Chet Holmgren, number 2 overall, gets injured in a Seattle Pro-Am game, and he's out for the season. It's very sad this year, but we are looking forward to seeing Chet on the court next year. Just to wrap it up here quick, guys, I got about 20 seconds left. Nikola Jokic and Bradley Beal, funny enough, signed the first $250 million contracts in NBA history. And the biggest news of the offseason, Chandler Parsons has retired. Thank you for coming to my 2022 NBA offseason recap, brought to you by theathleteshub.org. Go take a look. Go take a visit. Thank you.
Not bad at all. And Gary, I got to tell you, I don't know if it's like it for your screen, but your recap was so good that it sent Isaiah into the multiverse because he just looks frozen on my screen. Does he look frozen on your screen right now?
Not only does he look frozen, he looks in a state of confusion.
Yes.
We are looking at a and he is gone. Ladies and gentlemen, Isaiah Hansen has left the building. He's probably upset that he found out that I was the number 1 RJ Barrett fan. It's going to be some tough competition over with Isaiah. I'm getting some messages from him. It's we're going strong without Isaiah, but he'll be back. No worries.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was a very hectic offseason, and we tried to cover the best of the very best. We took off the last couple of weeks preseason, just getting started. We're getting ready for the start of the regular season. We're going to start off talking about the best offseason moves, the moves that we really enjoyed seeing. Gary, I'll start with you. What was just any sort of offseason move that sort of piqued your interest leading up in the coming months of the summer?
I know we talked about it a little bit beforehand. I would like to just shout out a quick one. My Miami Heat lost one of their more valuable defenders in PJ Tucker going over to the Philadelphia 76ers. I think he's going to do a great job of filling those gaps defensively where Tyrese Maxey and James Harden seem to lack when it comes to switchability on the defensive perimeter. But I've got to go with my favorite move of the offseason, which is Donovan Mitchell to the Cleveland Cavaliers. He, included with Evan Mobley and Darius Garland, have possibly the most upside for a young championship contender in the next couple of years that I've seen in a long time in the NBA. These guys got Evan Mobley, an incredible defender, almost won Rookie of the Year last year if it wasn't for a late resurgence from Scotty Barnes. Darius Garland, one of the greatest point guard players that we have in the NBA today, along with Donovan Mitchell, who is a guaranteed bucket on any night of the year and can absolutely give it to you when he wants on offense. I'm hesitant to see where he lands on the defensive end of the ball with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen there to back him up. He had Rudy Gobert before. There's a little bit of question marks about that, about the defense of his. But if he actually tries and buys into this system that JB Bickerstaff has there in Cleveland, I expect to see that Cavs team. I mean, we could see them hosting a playoff series this season. I could see them, taking a little bit of a step back from the excitement that they had last year, just trying to gel it all together. But I really do believe in the next couple of years, we could see that Cleveland Cavaliers team without LeBron James back in the finals. And to introduce Isaiah again, here we are. Welcome, friend. Jimmy Butler's friend, by the way.
Yes. I'm sorry. You said something about Jalen Brunson, and my computer just took a crap. Sorry. It's like, no, we're not doing this. So
Yeah.
The New York sports media didn't want you to hear my slander, so I get it.
That's it.
Yeah, and Gary, so Isaiah, just to catch you back up, so we're just talking about best or favorite offseason moves. Gary made a great point talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we just got notice earlier today that the NBA GMs were taking a survey, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, Gary, dominated the positive headlines. They were voted the player most likely to have a breakout season was Evan Mobley. They were voted the team as a whole had the best offseason moves. The biggest impact move was Donovan Mitchell to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the team was voted with the most promising young core. They have 3 NBA All-Stars that are 25 or younger. So you're right. This could be the first time since post-LeBron that the Cleveland Cavaliers are actually somewhat relevant.
And I really hope they are, honestly, for a city like Cleveland, who had to struggle with the LeBronless years and getting first-round picks over and over. I joke. The sarcasm is easy, but it is cool to see Cleveland, after a good amount of time, kind of being a laughingstock of the NBA, finally get the right pieces around good players, not just banking off of one superstar to bring them to a title every year, who honestly love LeBron, but those teams underachieved when it came to putting talent around him in general. So it's nice to see that the franchise and the ownership there kind of turned the course, did a little 180 on when it comes to acquiring talent. Now it almost seems like they might have too much talent in certain positions. That point guard position over there is loaded. We're still looking to see who might start over there at small forward. I know Isaac Okoro has a chance. I know Chetty Osman has a chance. People even think Dean Wade, which for me, seeing another D period Wade in the NBA makes me a little sad. But
in Cleveland, that'd be worse.
He's the only D Wade to ever play for Cleveland. That's right, right? No, we don't count those other years. Who was that other guy that played for Cleveland? I don't remember.
Wasn't Dwayne Wade. I could say
wasn't Dwayne Wade. It was never Dwayne Wade. No, not at all. But I know that you had a look at that GM survey there, Devon. Who did you have for your favorite offseason move? Did the GMs agree with you?
Oh man, the GMs didn't even acknowledge the pick that I am making. So gentlemen, I have 2. I have one in the East. I have one in the West. I'm going to start with the East because the East is a little bit more of a mild take, and it's one that we have talked about in the group chat. I think DeJounte Murray to the Atlanta Hawks gives the Atlanta Hawks new life. Last season, DeJounte Murray averaged 21.1 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 9.2 assists per game. He's the first all-star, really, that Trae Young is going to be able to play aside. Last season, when you're talking about the 3 top scorers behind Trae Young, it was John Collins at 16.2 points per game. It was Bogdanovich at 15.1 points per game, and it was DeAndre Hunter at 13.4 points per game. You're not talking about an NBA championship contender when your number 2 top scorer and top player is John Collins. And I didn't even mention that the fact that Clint Capella is only good for rebounding in basketball and for setting pick and rolls. That's all he's good for. It's all he's good for. He's on my dog water list, and we're already getting started.
Wow.
I'm already fired.
Oh man,
I'm already fired up.
Back the dog water.
2022. We bring up the dog water house over here.
And listen, this is a team, Atlanta. They finished just outside the top 5 when it came to scoring. They finished 6th in the league, but still they finished with a 43-39 record. Their winning percentage dropped from 56.9 to 52.4. They were in the mix of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, but nobody really took them seriously. So for me, they're adding depth in the offseason. They added the brothers of both Aaron and Justin Holiday, and they also drafted AJ Griffin with the number 16 overall pick. So I hate to say it, I was on the Chicago Bulls last season. This season, I'm on the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young, he's coming for you. He's coming. No. Can you Can you feel it?
We're not doing this.
It's
chilly. We're not doing this. Yeah, he is chilly. It was cold in the off season for him.
But that's my first one.
All right, Isaiah. Who do you think? It's your first one? Do you think that you got an offseason move that you find your favorite?
Listen, you said favorite, right? So I'm gonna
yes,
say,
sir, favorite.
So look, we looked at the GM polls, and they did have a Knick player as the third most impactful signing in the offseason, but they got the wrong guy. I'm assuming they made that error just because they're just doing like new acquisitions, bringing new guys onto this. But the one impact for my favorite and the thing I'm looking forward to the most is the extension of RJ Barrett, because there was talks about trading him for Donovan Mitchell, and Mitchell is great, don't get me wrong, but we were not about to move RJ Barrett. And listen, I brought the numbers too, okay? Like, I did not just come out and pull this out of my hat without having any facts, okay? Look, he is the future of the Knicks. 4 years, was it $107 million? I expect him to be worth all of it. He works as hard as anyone on the Knicks, and the fans recognize it. The past 3 years, 14 points per game, 17 points per game, and 20 points per game. He's always averaging about 6 rebounds and 3 assists. He's 6'6", so he's a bit of like a it's tough to put him on a forward. I always thought he would be more better as like a shooting guard, but stick him at the forward. He's not the best shooter. I get that. But defensively, in clutch situations, he has a 108.3 defensive rating, RJ Barrett does. In fact, when he is at his best, all the Knicks wins is when RJ Barrett is at his best with his defensive rating. Offensively, he could get a little bit better, but he is getting better. I was just watching the postseason right now. You see him slashing into the corner, dishing out. Now you got some shooters around you. You got Quentin Grimes, who's capable. There's one common theme here that I keep saying. Winning, RJ Barrett at his best, dishing out to players around him. This is the right move the Knicks made. They did not mortgage their future for Donovan Mitchell like they did with Carmelo Anthony. You know how I feel about Carmelo Anthony. That's my guy. But that set us back so many years, right? So it's a sign of things to come. And then you got Jalen Brunson, I guess. Look, let me be clear. It's not about Jalen Brunson. It's not about him as a talent. It's not about bringing him in. It's not about his contract. It's not about his talent. It's about how we went about bringing the guy in like he was the next coming of Kevin Durant. Not his fault, the Knicks' fault for just acting like a small market team. This is not it. You're in Madison Square Garden. This is New York. Like, why are we operating this way? This makes no sense at all. But we got RJ Barrett back for the long haul. I'm happy. I'm good. Jimmy Butler's prodigy in the making, and RJ Barrett, that's my favorite. And then you know what? It's going to lead to a brighter future. Okay.
Is it a deep takes from 3 episode if
No.
if the Knicks aren't brought up more
really
than they
is.
deserve?
Is it a season 2 premiere if I do not rant on my Knicks and praise RJ Barrett for like 5 minutes? No.
I would argue this show doesn't happen if you don't rant about the Knicks. I would think if you didn't, the world would collapse within itself.
Like, if I did this on First Take, ratings would be through the roof. I'm telling you.
If you talked about the Knicks more on First Take, they might actually be entertaining. Oh!
No arguments here. So yeah, RJ Barrett was my favorite just because while we didn't do anything drastic, that's the point. We didn't do anything drastic. That's why I'm happy. So
conservative bet over here for the New York Knicks. The NBA survey doesn't agree with you though.
Oh
No,
they did the right work. They just got the wrong answer.
No, the NBA survey doesn't even think that the New York Knicks have a top 5 home court advantage. They voted 7%, which was 6. It's behind Toronto, Boston, Denver, Golden State, and Utah. Madison Square Garden, small market, question mark?
No. It's because you got guys like Julius Randle over there, like contaminating the fans. Now we're like at odds with the players all of a sudden, but that's going to change. RJ Barrett is the leader of this team moving forward.
Yeah, and listen, just to come around full circle, we said it wouldn't be a deep takes from 3 without Isaiah ranting about RJ Barrett. It also wouldn't be an episode of Deep Takes from 3 if I didn't rant about my Los Angeles Lakers when it came to my favorite move. And the favorite move also was an extension when the Los Angeles Lakers gave LeBron James a 2-year, $97.1 million extension, including a player option for the 3rd year. It doesn't sound like a lot. It's only a 2-year extension, but it eliminates all the concerns that he's going to become a free agent next offseason. Considering that free agency class next summer is actually somewhat weak. Behind Kyrie Irving, the best free agents are going to end up being Chris Middleton if he doesn't take his player option, and Andrew Wiggins, who is coming off of a great year, but can he really repeat those statistics? If LeBron James was in that draft, or in that free agency class, I should say, it would be all hell on wheels. It would be absolute madness. So after this, Russell Westbrook, Isaiah was saying off camera that he's having a great preseason. Preseason is preseason is preseason. No. Yes, it's just preseason, but he's not going to be on the team past this upcoming season. I think we can all agree on that. He will not be on the team past the season. Just too much money, not affordable. But I think there's a chance that he actually does stick it out for the rest of the season. I agree that this could be an improved year compared to last season, but when last season is the floor, you can really only go up from the floor. Actually, below the floor would actually be the basement for Russell Westbrook. So he was just stuck down in the basement. You're right. This is a therapy session. It is featuring me. It's starring me.
We have that thing saved, Dev. This is like once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I literally have Knicks therapy session and Lakers therapy session both saved for the podcast here. So I got you guys.
So this move with Russell Westbrook, once Westbrook is gone in the offseason of 2024, so looking ahead 2 years, LeBron James will then become a free agent. But the Los Angeles Lakers, to entice LeBron James to stay, it's so genius-like the front office. They have the opportunity to sign a third max player in that offseason. So if they say, LeBron, we're going to take Bronny James Jr. in the draft, please stay with us, and we'll sign a max contract player. It entices LeBron James to stay just 1 or 2 more years to pull in the free agents. And the Lakers, with no cap space, still had the opportunity to acquire Kendrick Nunn, still the opportunity to acquire Patrick Beverley, who I might add has been in the playoffs with 3 different teams, 1, 2, 3, in 9 of the 10 past seasons. So he is able to carry a team defensively to the playoffs, or at least be part of the reason a team gets to the playoffs. They've also added Lonnie Walker, Marvin Bagley. They had a very exciting draft, drafting Shaq's son and Scottie Pippen's son. I don't know if any of those are going to pan out in the distant future, but still a very exciting offseason for the Lakers. But it all starts with a domino effect, and the first domino to fall is going to be LeBron James's extension. Take it away, Iz. Why are you shaking your head at me?
Wait, Gary, real quick. How old is LeBron James?
I believe he is 37 years old.
Dev, we're just saying he went 0-8 in the preseason. I'm not saying we're going off of that or anything.
Oh,
is your real, like, don't get me wrong, it's not much better over here in New York, but let me just say, like, is your plan building around LeBron James for the next 2 to 3 years? Is that what you're looking to do?
The Los Angeles Lakers are going to finish this season. They're going to go into the season knowing the next 3 years of the timetable to win an NBA championship.
With LeBron?
One of the next 3 years. And I'll tell you what, the Los Angeles Lakers will win another NBA championship before the New York Knicks win another NBA championship. Mark my words on that, Isaiah Hansen.
Is that really like a hot take?
Actually, yes,
Sorry,
it is.
But
let's start there. No, actually, it might be a hot take because with all the draft picks that the Lakers have given up, and with LeBron James' age and the RJ Barrett ascension, it might be a hot take, Dev.
I'm telling you, this is a playoff team. We're going back to the playoffs. It's going to be a top 5 seed this season, and we're going to make some noise. I don't know if this is going to be the year that we contend for a championship, but it's going to be really, really close.
Listen, I just want to say one thing about Westbrook, okay? It's not about the pre-season, like the results. It's about just how he looks. Like he settled into his new house, I think. You saw him making some nice passes. Last season, I said multiple times, it was almost like a stop-and-go thing for Westbrook. Like, he would stand around, watch LeBron do his thing. LeBron will pass something, he'll just bolt to the hoop. But recently, he just looks involved with LeBron and AD on the court. Like I think he's going to be more comfortable. There'll be a solid 8th, 9th seed team, but Westbrook will be one of the better players, one of the best feel-good stories of the season. I believe it.
8 or 9.
This
is LeBron James. This is Anthony Davis healthy again. This is Russell Westbrook in an improved year.
Healthy again? What do you mean healthy again?
I'm not letting you go with that. Healthy again with Anthony Davis. This man played as himself on 2K and got hurt. I don't know if you saw the clip. Anthony Davis was streaming on his Twitch channel of him playing as Anthony Davis on the Lakers. Man's got a non-contact injury on 2K. Wow. I mean, if we're talking about cursed, I'm going to take down the Westbrook time because we're talking about Anthony Davis. But if we're talking about cursed, this Anthony Davis career, I mean, at this point, I figured he would be at least like a unanimous top 5 player in the NBA when healthy. I mean, when healthy is the key point there. But, I mean, there's a lot to – he makes the All-NBA 75 team, and there's a lot of people that don't agree with that so far. But, he's deserved it, and he's done a really good job on the defensive end. He is a key reason that Lakers team won a championship. But, man, I really want to see him healthy for at least 70 games before I can consider him back to his old self. Not because I don't think that he's still good, but because the best ability is availability. And without him on the court, the Lakers team has no one to play defense. It's really as simple as that. Russell Westbrook is not what he used to be. And LeBron James, we know he coasts through the season. It is all on Anthony Davis. And if this reports are true that he wants to be the focus of the offense, he's going to have a lot of weight on his back to put when he has to also be the best defensive player on the court too.
Best defensive player on the court, aside from Patrick Beverly. Beverly, he's a dog. He is a dog.
I got to give you. Look, when we were talking about like our favorite offseason moves, I slightly considered all of the Lakers signings because they did pretty well given the situation. That said, they'll be a solid 8th to 9th seed, but they did as well as they possibly could with the situation.
Yeah.
I'm excited to put this in a future intro when they end up either winning the title or going and not making the playoffs. And then either one of Devon being incredibly upset or Isaiah claiming that they're going to be an 8th seed.
Listen, like I predicted the Warriors would win the NBA Finals in November, and I owned it, I will own this. The Lakers are going to finish 8th or 9th seed.
You did predict that they were going to win the finals in November. You got a knack for those finals predictions.
That was a good take. And fellas, we'll be getting into title favorites in just a little bit. But first, we were just handed a golden nugget of NBA content with the NBA GMs decided to fill out a survey of 50 different questions. Yes, nugget, Isaiah. 50 different questions relating to the NBA. This is about title favorites, the best at each position, the head coaches, anything and everything that you can think of when it pertains to NBA opinions. The GMs and the front offices answered those questions. So let's start off with you, Gary. What was something, looking through this list of 50 different questions, what's something that sort of stood out to you?
I mean, y'all got the chance to talk about your guys. Am I not going to sit here and talk like Eric Spoelstra isn't the best coach in the NBA? Unanimously almost voted on by his peers, general managers across the league. Not only is he the second highest tenured coach in the NBA, he is possibly, other than Pat Riley, the greatest head coach in Miami Heat basketball history. Not that there has been many, but Eric Spoelstra does not get the credit he deserves. He is he's voted as the best coach in the NBA, and he's never won a Coach of the Year award. He is consistently has the best defensive sets to run. He gets praise from every one of his peers, and we all know what it's like to play Miami in the playoffs, even with players that you wouldn't kind of assume. Duncan Robinson isn't going to become the player that he is when it isn't considered with Eric Spoelstra's offensive sets. Now, I personally, as a Heat fan, have some questions about his lineup choices and his inability to stray away from, we need to play. He always loves to do this thing where he plays some random dude at the 4. We never have good 4s. And even when Chris Bosh was a 4 on our team, when LeBron James had left, he decided to play him at the center, which was great. But guys, I was looking at years with Josh McRoberts and I can't remember Cat's name right now, but he, oh man, it's really, oh my goodness, I can see it. Luke Babbitt used to start at the 4 for the Miami Heat, and those teams still won over 40 games. I got to hand it out to Eric Spoelstra, finally getting recognized as the best coach in the NBA, as he deserves. Love Greg Popovich, but those Spurs teams haven't been competitive in a good while. So, yeah, I'm excited. Eric Spoelstra, best coach in the NBA, voted on by the general managers. And Devon's shaking his head. I'm not quite sure why. He has the track record. What do you got a problem with that? You got a problem, buddy?
Yeah, some we have a problem. We got a big problem.
We got a problem. You want to fight?
I'm walking here.
I'll take this outside.
I'll tell you what my problem is, and I have. Oh man, I'm trying my best to stay calm in this situation because someone is being so disrespected among NBA GMs, and you already said the name. It's Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich is the best NBA head coach in potentially NBA history, not just in the current time. This is a man who had not one, not two, not even to count them all because it's 20 20 straight 50-plus win seasons, 22 consecutive playoff appearances. There's a little thing called recency bias, and I think that's what we're sipping on. I think they're sipping the Kool-Aid over here saying, oh, they haven't been in the playoffs the last 3 years. So you're going to give him 7% of the vote? You're telling me that Eric Spoelstra is basically 6 or 7 times the coach that this man, Greg Popovich, is? You're going to tell me Steve Kerr, the man that was 67 and 130 without Steph Curry on the floor in his coaching career, 67 and 130 is this man's head coaching record. You're going to tell me he gets 22% of the vote. Greg Popovich gets 7, a whopping 7%. And the man's ability to draft icons, Hall of Fame talent throughout the years. He drafted Tim Duncan, clear-cut number 1 choice. They tanked in 1996 to draft Tim Duncan in 1997. But look at who they drafted outside of that. Tony Parker, the 28th pick. Manu Ginobili, the 57th pick. Kawhi Leonard, the 15th overall pick in their respective draft classes. He's not just the greatest coach currently. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. You didn't see our batch coaching the Boston Celtics post Bill Russell. You didn't see Pat Riley coaching the Los Angeles Lakers post Magic Johnson. You didn't see Phil Jackson coaching the Chicago Bulls post Michael Jordan. You saw Greg Popovich stick it out all the way through. Love Eric Spoelstra, but we're getting absolutely disrespected for Greg Popovich. The difference between Spoelstra and Greg Popovich in the fashion of a winning percentage in the playoffs is 0.002%. 0.002. So it's right there. The only difference, Greg Popovich has 123 more games in the playoffs as the head coach because of his tenure with the San Antonio Spurs. If Eric Spoelstra is there for that long and the numbers stack up, sure. But right now, I think the recency bias is just a little bit too high. I'm riding Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs.
And I'm going to be honest with you. It would be silly of me to put Eric Spoelstra over Greg Popovich all time. But you named a lot of dudes from the 90s and the early 2000s. And, that's all great with me and that's all great. But we're talking like this is now, baby. That's Eric Spoelstra. It's now. And I'm drinking that Kool-Aid. We got red Kool-Aid down in Miami. We're drinking that.
Oh, goodness.
I might not be a Florida resident anymore, but I'm still riding for my South Beach dude. That's Eric Spoelstra.
Man.
I'm out here. I might be alone on this island, at least in this podcast. I don't know how Isaiah feels, but I got Eric Spoelstra. I mean, we got so much more to cover, but this was one that I knew when you talked to me about it earlier, we were gonna have some choice words for one another.
We were.
You both make really valid points. And I'm just going to say, for people that said I'm a toxic Knicks fan, it's not Tom Thibodeau.
It is not Tom Thibodeau.
No. There you go. See, so I'm honest. But no, you both make some really solid points. That's a toss-up. Of course, I think, all time, you got to put Pop ahead. But I think in today's NBA, like the Spurs, it almost reminds me of like a boot camp, and then like everybody else is like going outside studying and stuff, and then Pop got him inside running suicides and stuff, which is not a bad thing. It's just that in today's NBA, I don't know if it's that attractive, and that's probably why they are where they are at this point. But
it's just weird to me that the San Antonio Spurs basically just started a new G League Ignite team. At this point, it's pretty much what it looks like over there.
I will say, I think if Pop had the Miami Heat squad this year, we flip-flopped them. Of course, I think Pop could do more with them, especially with a guy like Butler. Oh man, that's.
Did you guys see too? The Spurs had their media day, and Popovich said something on the lines of like, "Don't put your money on the San Antonio Spurs to win the championship this year."
Are you serious? I just mortgaged out. I just got a second loan on my house so I could put it all on the Spurs winning the championship this year. Come on, Greg. You're not going to try for me?
Well, maybe you'll get the the winter championship in December? Are they doing that?
Oh, yeah. We're going to get the San Antonio Spurs 2022 mid-season tournament champions.
There you go. Does that count?
If we start using the mid-season tournament as a way to give player, like if in 20 years, if we're looking, Larry Bird didn't have any mid-season champion, I'm going to throw my laptop into the river. We can't be doing that. There's too many I mean, like, of course, I know we are in the middle of NFL season now too, so certain basketball topics get looked down on. But I know that there's like a lot of terms with record breaking when it comes to the adding of another game to the NFL season, and how, like, oh yeah, Tom Brady threw more passing yards than he's ever had before in his career, but he had an extra game to do it last year. So I'm excited to see the new changes they might make to the league. We've always had the conversation about losing 10 games for player schedules and, healing in the offseason and healing midseason. That, what is the word? What is the they put it on the scouting reports when they don't want to say that they're it's Kawhi Leonard's famous for it. I can't remember it now, but
that they're resting. I don't know.
Yeah, they're just load management. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
some
load
load
management.
management going on in the NBA here. It's been a while since I've heard that word. They kind of like
I'll never hear it again.
Well, it's coming back, baby. Don't worry. No, but like, especially with Kawhi playing this year, I'm nervous to see how these changes in the NBA and the GM poll. There was something that I wish they would have asked. I didn't see that they did when it comes to the midseason tournament and how that they're going to implement that with stats and everything with the new play-in. Yeah, it's just interesting. How is this going to all change NBA records and whatnot?
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd. I don't know if like maybe like there's like you start adding like a mid-season MVP and like the standings are still as they are, and like
it all feels gross. I don't like it.
I feel like the more and more I look at these rule changes, and with baseball too, I feel like one day I'm gonna be that get off my lawn type of person, like my 70s. Like when it comes to sports, like back in my day, like I think I'm gonna become one of those guys because a lot of these changes. But I think the NBA is pretty progressive. I just don't like this one. I don't know about. I mean, I don't not like it.
I will definitely be that guy. I'll definitely be the guy that's like, I remember back in my day when you couldn't play zone defense.
when there's going to be, we didn't have all 7'3" demigods shooting from half court in my day. We had to work for that stuff.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. So, sort of transitioning into something that I thought was interesting from the NBA GM survey. This player was so bad in the NBA postseason, and yet is being claimed as the best shooting guard in the NBA. I don't understand why Devin Booker is ranked as the best shooting guard in the NBA when Luka Doncic, for what you want to call him, a point guard or shooting guard, somehow listed as a small forward ahead of LeBron James on the small forwards list. How is Luka Doncic at 28% and Devin Booker at 45%? I just don't understand. Devin Booker has played in 3 more seasons than Luka Doncic, but Luka Doncic has made the playoffs 3 times and Devin Booker has made it twice and needed Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton to do so. I can't even name on more than one hand the number of All-Stars that Luka Doncic has been able to play with. His best teammate was what? Porzingis? Was what? Jalen Brunson? I just don't understand it. And then all of a sudden, you're getting Devin Booker, who didn't make the playoffs the first 5 years he was in the league. He made it in each of the last 2. But where were you in the first 5 years of the league? Luka Doncic, for individual accolades, 3 NBA All-Star selections to Devin Booker's 1, all of which for both men have come from the first team selection. So props to both of them. But statistically, both in the regular season and the postseason, Luka Doncic has been better than Devin Booker. So I don't understand if Devin Booker is on the Dallas Mavericks, this is a team that's struggling to win 25 games a season. If Luka Doncic is on the Phoenix Suns, they are a powerhouse, even more so this year than they were in years previous. If Luka Doncic is on the Suns and you flip-flop the two. So I don't know whether either of you guys think in any galaxy Luka Doncic is a better basketball player or is a worse basketball player than Devin Booker, but that for me was my biggest whoa moment.
The only thing I could think of is if maybe the GMs could only vote for a guy once, in their predictions, because they got Luka as the second best point guard, second best shooting guard, and the third best small forward. So I'm hoping that was the case, and some guys just don't consider him a shooting guard, because absolutely there's no aspect of any thing that is basketball, not even the hairstyle that Devin Booker has over Luka.
It makes you wonder, if if the front office people or the GMs or whoever's like given a ballot with like, hey, here's who's eligible and who's not, or if they're just like, hey, here's the right answer, because everyone can agree Devin Booker is a shooting guard because Chris Paul was playing the point guard all the way through, and Luka Doncic was playing point guard, so he has votes when it comes to point guard, shooting guard, and small forward, where Devin Booker only has votes on shooting guard. So for me, if everybody knew that Luka Doncic was available as a shooting guard and a shooting guard alone, he would have over 45%.
It's got to be that. I mean, it can't be anything else other than just like, because I don't think that the NBA GMs were all over here thinking to themselves like Mr. Burns sitting in his castle, like, I'm gonna make so that Devin Booker is the best shooting guard. They must have just not known that it was. They just must not be as smart as us guys. The NBA GMs have no idea what they're talking about. Just three dudes with a sports podcast know way more. No, but in all seriousness, it actually just has to be they didn't know that Devin Booker or that Luka Doncic was available to be chosen as a shooting guard, because it is funny that he is in 3 categories in the top 3, and he is the favorite to win MVP next year, which I'm not sure I'm 1000% cool with. Not because I don't think Luka Doncic is an incredible talent, but their team in terms of roster construction and how it looks like they might finish in the West next year, with just how many teams in the West are competing for those top 5-6 spots. It normally, unless you're Russell Westbrook and you average a triple-double, it normally takes you being at least a 1, 2, or 3 seed in order to win the MVP. We've had some changes to that recently with Jokic, but that was more so injuries when it came to keeping his team afloat while Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray were out. But Luka Doncic, I like the Dallas Mavericks a lot. Do I like Luka Doncic to win MVP eventually? Yes, but it's going to have to come when his team has a little bit more team success, in my opinion. But yeah, no, Luka Doncic, given the circumstances, if it all plays right, I could see him winning it next year. And that's something that we will talk about at a later date when we get all of our numbers crunched and we can figure out who we want to put our money on. We got Devon doing his pick of the day last year that I remember that went really well. So maybe we get some Luka Doncic over 60 on points, rebounds, and assists in some crazy game against the Knicks, or something like that. But, I'm just excited to see Luka Doncic back out on the court. Will he win the MVP? Who knows? But, yeah. Devon, do you have anything else from that NBA survey that got you going? Because there was one that I saw that made me a little I saw a fun little stat the other day that I liked. I know Evan Mobley won. I told you so basically Evan Mobley got the
breakout player.
The breakout player. Which rookie will be a breakout player? What's the most likely breakout player here soon? Isaiah, 5 years ago, the NBA GMs voted the winner of, quote, which rookie will be the best in 5 years. Do you know which rookie from the 2017 draft class that the NBA decided would be the best in the next 5 years? That is a draft.
From which draft class? From
2017, the one with Markelle Fultz, Jason Tatum.
I would have said Jason Tatum. With
you would be the hindsight 2020. You would say Jason Tatum. Would you believe me if I told you that 5 years ago, the NBA GMs decided that Josh Jackson would be the best player in the next 5 years?
Somebody's bounced.
Yeah, he dropped the number 4th, bounced around a couple teams. He now plays for the Raptors. I don't think he's going to probably won't make the 10-man roster there if I had to guess, but just crazy how things can change. I know Evan Mobley is seen to be this player that's going to elevate into not only a superstar, but possibly a top 10 player in the NBA here in the future. Just crazy to see how wrong some of these GM surveys from the past could be. I know that Karl Anthony Towns is also lauded as one of the most intriguing players. Now, of course, he's very good, but it's very interesting that some of the decisions they make.
I thought the MVP one was really interesting because I'm sort of on the same boat with you, Gary. After I'm going to sound contradicting because I just died on a hill of Luka Doncic being better than Devin Booker, which I totally stand behind. But I'm actually really down on the Dallas Mavericks this year. Their offseason was actually terrible. Let me read their starting 5 going into opening night in the NBA. Luka Doncic is projected at the point guard. Okay, yeah, that's great. Spencer Dinwiddie had a really good productive, last year when he was dealt over to the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, I'll give it to you. Reggie Bullock is the small forward. Dorian Finney-Smith is going to play the 4. No. And oh my goodness gracious, hide your wife, hide your kids. Do not let your dogs out of the house because JaVale McGee is going to play down low on opening night right now. Doncic, Dinwiddie, Bullock, Finney-Smith, JaVale McGee, with Christian Wood playing off the bench until he takes over for Finney-Smith, which I would expect at some point in the regular season just because, oh my goodness, this is a team. Now, if you want to talk 8 or 9 seeds in the NBA, Isaiah, this is a team that's probably going to end up at the 8 or 9 spot. This is an awful starting 5. This is awful. This is atrocious. This is criminal.
It's rough. It's a rough looking 5. But you mentioned one guy who I'm really intrigued about over there in Dallas. No. Let's not go too far. But
Two-time
Mr.
champ
Wood. I always wonder, is this an empty calorie player, or can he be a productive player in a winning situation? Because like you just said, Spencer Dinwiddie is not a bad player at all for scoring production. Then you got, of course, what can you say about Luka? Luka's obviously he's Luka. He's capable of dragging whatever to the Western Conference Finals again. So if Christian Wood, that's a wild card for me. I feel like if he can be productive in a winning situation, and in fairness to him, he hasn't really had an opportunity to prove whether he can or not. It's just that when he's played, they lost a lot. So, but now you have Luka. Can you fit into your role and be productive? I got to see that first. 6 seed.
6 seed?
6
for
seed.
the Dallas Mavericks? I can see it.
Yes.
I mean, they made the Western Conference Finals last year, guys. I know they had Jalen Brunson.
It's like you talk about LeBron in his prime. Like you give him Mario Chalmers and he's gonna
stop. Do not disrespect Mario Chalmers on my podcast. He's
taking him to
on our podcast, but specifically right now, mine. Do not disrespect I'm Mario Chalmers stan.
or Jalen Brown in 2 years. Like him being able to carry whatever to the Eastern Conference Finals. So yeah,
just over here spitting fire over here, my man.
Brown and Jalen.
Yeah. So are we? It sounds like we got our piece off when it came to the NBA survey. Isaiah, did you have one that you wanted to throw out there as well?
I'm saving it for the next segment.
Oh boy! So we're gonna start off with you on the next segment then, as we transition on over to our title favorites. So Isaiah, I assume your pick has to do with this NBA survey. Talk to us about who you feel is worthy of being in the conversation when it comes to a title favorite for this year. So,
am I the only one that sees what Jokic did last year without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr.? I'm sorry. Let me just look at this team real quick, okay? So, you got Bones Highland coming off the bench, who proved to be really good in his situation. You add DeAndre Jordan off the bench. It is what it is at this point, right? But it gives you a little bit of size off the bench, right? You don't need much when you got Joker, okay? Let's start there. And then the best offseason in the NBA, even over the Knicks, take a second, was the Nuggets. The Nuggets just acquired Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. They're coming back to the situation, and they were just in the playoffs. They were just 48-34. I'm not looking it up right now. I'm just because I've been thinking about this for a long time. Like, you don't even have them on the list as a potential finals team. Like, hang on, I gotta look again. Who do you have? Do I really see the 76? Oh no, that's the. You got Phoenix above Denver. After everything you guys just got blown out by the half off 76ers. The 36ers, no disrespect to those guys over there. Obviously, they can play basketball way better than I can. I could probably shoot better, but they would definitely win. But yeah, the Denver Nuggets definitely are going to be in the NBA Finals. You're hearing it here first. You got Joker and you give him Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. The only question is health because their depth is not the greatest. I admit that. So an injury or two, you probably knock them off a little bit, right? And if that happens, the Warriors will win again. But besides that, you got Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, Ish Smith. All I'm saying is you just gave Joker 2 top players, and I expect Jamal Murray to play really well. I think he's a potential superstar in the making. And then you got Michael Porter Jr., who has so much untapped potential. He's got length. He's like Brandon Ingram, basically. So I believe the Nuggets will be in the finals. And not only will they be in the finals, they're going to win it against my man, the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, Giannis is going to be back in there. And I feel like it just feels right. This is the year that Joker is going to do it. Because how much longer can a guy like his stature keep up this type of pace? I mean, you look at guys like Marc Gasol. He didn't age so gracefully, right? So I think the time is now. He has some help with Jamal Murray. I can't express enough. Jamal Murray is going to be big. Just like when I said Klay Thompson when he was coming back, I was like, hey, I just want to see like just how good they're going to get. And once I saw him, like, okay, yeah, NBA Finals. This is what is the same situation. Jamal Murray, I'm telling you, let's do it.
I will say this, Isaiah. If you really want to put your money where your mouth is right now, Vegas has the Denver Nuggets as the 9th highest odds to win the NBA title at plus 1,860, and actually FanDuel has them at plus 2,000. So, my man, if you want to get yourself a nice car this summer, you should definitely go and put that money where your mouth is. And I will say we do have some engagement in the chat here from a little bit ago. Our friend Zach from our fantasy league over here agreeing with you in your Bucks finals take. However, he's got the Bucks winning that championship. But I asked Devon here, do you agree with Isaiah here? Do you got the Nuggets in the West?
Isaiah. This is, I mean, who am I to doubt somebody that was so right last year and could end up being so wrong this year? This man
similar last year.
Isaiah, for what he's worth, he's extremely accurate when he came to the pick last year for the Golden State Warriors. But Isaiah, I'm afraid you're jumping off the Warriors ship a little too long because they didn't lose anybody in the offseason. In fact, they only got better. They added Dante DiVincenzo. They added other guys. They had their draft picks. Their bench is a lot deeper. Yeah, didn't they lose Gary Trent Jr. or whatever? But they still have their Gary Payton Jr. They still have their core when it comes to Andrew Wiggins. They still have their core when it comes to Jordan Poole. And this is sort of their last dance, I would say, because all these guys are going to start hitting free agency pretty soon, and you have to answer a lot of tough questions. But this year and this year alone, there's a lot to like about the Golden State Warriors. And I just can't write them off this year. If you're telling me that a team that has Kentavious Caldwell-Pope starting at the 2 and Aaron Gordon starting at the 4 is going to be able to beat up on the Golden State Warriors, I'll take the Warriors over the Nuggets any day of the week.
At full health, Nuggets.
At full health, of course.
I mean, look, if Jamal Murray goes down, he's out for the year. Please don't let that happen. But if it does, then I'm gonna say, okay, Warriors are winning it. Like they're right there, and then but the Bucks are in the East. No matter what, I'm going with that.
So we're over here at a crossroads because I believe that I'm saying that Isaiah, you have the West winning this championship, as do I, because I have the Golden State Warriors as my favorite to win the title next year. I can't. I did it last year where I picked the Bucks to win the title because I believe in repeating. I believe in those repeats. I believe in the greatness of Steph Curry, and I believe Isaiah said it best last year. Steph Curry is a top 10 player of all time, and if he gets that 5th ring, what's to say that we don't start including him in those 6, 7, 8, maybe even 5 all-time debates? Not putting him up against Magic Johnson just yet. Let's hold our horses over here, NBA Twitter, young folks. But Steph this year could cement himself as one of the greatest players of all time. Top 5 potential. We got Klay Thompson. Oh, he's leaving.
What? You
He's
better
leaving.
Sit back down, boy.
He's sitting down. Sit back down, my friend. We got more to come through, my God. And look, when I'm wrong, I'll put it in the intro compilation. Don't even worry. But we're talking about Klay Thompson coming 2 years off of an ACL injury, back to his true form. Draymond Green proved last year that he is still one of the most versatile defenders in NBA history. We got Jordan Poole, who I was so correct on. Let's not even let's stop right. I was on that Jordan Poole hype train. Me and Isaiah drove that Warriors bandwagon while Devon's Chicago Bulls, they did a great job, but let's be honest, that Lonzo Ball injury is kind of hurting his superstar chances here. Yeah. But it's sad. I'm not saying that you were wrong, but it is very sad that homie can't even walk up the stairs right now.
Yeah,
like that's really bad for them. They won't be included in my Eastern Conference contenders list for that reason, which I will be selecting the Milwaukee Bucks to represent the East in this finals. I'm looking at a Warriors Bucks finals, but with Poole splashing from deep, Kevon Looney doing everything he can under the glass, making those sacrifices, and they're getting Wiseman back. They're getting Kuminga and Moody back from like their little development camp that they got going down in there in Golden State. DiVincenzo, I'm taking it. I'm taking Warriors for the title. And I'm curious as to Devon, where you're looking at from a title perspective.
So the Warriors will represent the West, as I said before. I think they got better in the offseason. How can you bet against a team that won the championship pretty handedly, I'll say, against the Boston Celtics and got better in the offseason? But I'm looking at the winner of the NBA championship, and I actually like the chances out in the East this year. You know what I see, gentlemen? I see this NBA GM survey, and if I'm an NBA player, I'm at least taking a quick glance at it, especially if I'm a top player, and I'm saying, where do I rank among the players that are superstars at my position? And I'm looking at the best center in the NBA is Nikola Jokic, 79%. Man, that's straight up disrespectful. If you're Joel Embiid, you got to come into the season with a chip on your shoulder. If you're the Philadelphia 76ers, you're coming into the season with a chip on all of your shoulders. I'm looking at this. The Philadelphia 76ers have a chip on their shoulders. Lost in a 6-game series to Gary's Miami Heat last season in the playoffs. They're coming back stronger this season. James Harden and Joel Embiid get an offseason together rather than acquiring a trade at the trade deadline, try to put the pieces together last minute. They then go ahead in the offseason, add the likes of PJ Tucker, add the likes of Montrezl Harrell, add the likes of Daniel House. It was a really, really good offseason if you're a Philadelphia 76ers fan. And you got an emerging third star in Tyrese Maxey, who is in that vote when it comes to breakout players of the year candidates. So I'm looking at this as a potential big three when it comes to another year of Maxey, a full season of James Harden, and then you get an MVP front runner contender when it comes to Joel Embiid. He's at least going to be in the conversation this upcoming season. And the odds in the East are not great. They still trail the Celtics, who are in absolute shambles right now for reasons off the court. The Bucks, who are going to be the favorites on paper, but let's face it, if we were betting on paper last season, we would have seen the Nets facing off against the Lakers, and look at what happened in that situation on both sides of the NBA Finals picture. And we're also looking at the Nets back in there as NBA favorites again in the East. Are you kidding me? This is a team that wanted to just go left, right, up, down, and all the way in between in different directions other than playing in Brooklyn in the 2022-23 season. I love the Philadelphia 76ers as a top 4 seed in this upcoming season, and I love them to make it out of the East. I think that when we're betting on the favorites, I don't like the on-paper favorites, except when it comes to the Warriors, because they've given us no reason to doubt them. But when we're talking about the East, the Celtics are going to decline. The Bucks, they're going to decline a little bit, but they will be a powerhouse team. But if you're not going to bet on the Bucks, you have to bet on the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid will prove he is the best center in the NBA this season.
Oh, man. Look, it's not about Joel Embiid.
I left you speechless is what happened.
It's not about you. It's not about Embiid. Embiid deserves to get to the finals. it's not about Maxey. Maxey's great. I agree with you. I think he has a real shot at being like a breakout star this year. But James Harden at his best, I could not trust in the playoffs. And we got an aging, declining, like I said last year, the death of a supernova. There was one, well, I forget the name of the star. I'm not the best astronomy. There was a star that just died. They're calling it James Harden. I'm sorry. Listen, James Harden, it's just not the same. He's not the same player anymore. I'm not saying he can't be productive, but that's not enough to get over the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, as they are, even with the situation. I trust them to figure it out. They are a really good team. They have potentially, they got my man Jaylen Brown. I don't even got to say anything about Jason Tatum. And by the way, I think I got the Miami Heat as a more likely chance to get to the finals than the 76ers. Yes, I do. Because what did I say last year when the 76ers and the Heat got to the I said, what's going to happen? I said the Miami Heat are going to mug James Harden. In that voice, just like that. I said it in that dark tone. Okay, and it's going to happen again. Jimmy Butler will literally steal the heart out of James Harden. Then the Brooklyn Nets, of course. Yes, I have them over there because you got Kevin Durant and you got Ben Simmons, who looks motivated. What did I say last year? I said any team Ben Simmons goes to is a playoff team, okay? It's not the type of effect he has on the Nets. They were a playoff team no matter what. But, yes, I got at least 6 teams. Did I name 6 teams right there? Above the 76ers. Not close. Not Joel Embiid's fault, but I don't trust James Harden. As long as he's dominating the ball or has, like, the second highest or first highest usage, they are not getting to the NBA Finals. One way or the other, he will figure out a way to choke it away.
Isaiah, you're confusing yourself with the James Harden of the past, the one that was playing on the Houston Rockets where he needed the ball. He needed the I agree with you. He's not the same guy that he was before, but much like a fine wine, he's going to get better over time. He's going to develop into the number 2 role. Joel Embiid is the clear-cut number 1. And you didn't even mention the dogs that they had in the offseason. You're telling me I get Montrezl Harrell off the bench? That man is a dog. Yeah. Daniel House, a dog. Yeah. PJ Tucker in the starting lineup, a dog. All 3 dogs.
Yeah, but I love it. But you also had Montrezl Harrell on the Lakers for a little while. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
he was good on the Lakers.
He was good.
He was not given the opportunity to start in the starting lineup. He wasn't given the minutes off of the bench either. He even said in that offseason, he was like, I was not given the minutes. I was not given the opportunity to show what I can really do. And when he went over to Charlotte and in the next season, he did very well in Charlotte.
He did. But it's just like, is that enough to withstand whatever Harden's going to do? Listen, I will say this. There's one guy that you mentioned that I really feel like if there's anybody that could get James Harden over that just happens every single time he gets to the playoffs, it's PJ Tucker. I think that voice in his ear could be big. Yeah. But that said, no, look, the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, we got to see what the Atlanta Hawks do. I might have them we got the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I love the Atlanta Hawks.
Like,
now
we
you're
gotta
talking.
see, like, out of every team that's going to make the playoffs, put it this way, out of 1 through 8, 8th best odds, I got the 76ers making the finals. That's how much I don't trust James Harden. That's how much.
Stop the cap. I am
unless you're telling me they're trading James Harden mid-season, then maybe I might give you a shot.
My guy, did you see his press conference that he had the other day? He lost 100 pounds, he said. Yeah. 1-0.
That's the most impressive thing about James Harden.
It doesn't sound healthy, not going to lie. It doesn't sound healthy. However, I am on the James Harden bandwagon with Devon and Joel Embiid. When you said that the Miami Heat had higher odds than the 76ers, I might be MIA till I die, but like, my guy, I'm not that optimistic about my Heat this year. And we made the Eastern Conference Finals last season.
Hello. Yeah, you did. And
why I know.
Did you? Why did you? What happened?
What happened with the 76ers? James Harden kind of,
Thank you. There you go.
He did unspeakable things.
Yeah, the Heat lived and died by Jimmy Butler last year. Last year in the playoffs, and Gary will tell you this, nobody was playing behind Jimmy Butler. The next highest scorer was Bam Adebayo at 15 points a game. Tyler Hero in the regular season, 21 points a game. In the playoffs, less than 15 a game.
At least the Heat got a chance to live by Jimmy Butler. The 76ers were sleeping with James Harden. Like,
Oh,
Well, it didn't
No,
help
the
that
only
Joel
person
Embiid was
sleeping on the
out.
70s, the only person sleeping on the 76ers is gonna be you this season.
okay,
It's gonna
listen,
be you.
they'll be in the playoffs. They'll might even be a fourth, third seed. He's really good in the regular season. They'll win a lot of games. It's just once we get to it's like the Dallas Cowboys, like Stephen A. always
Oh,
says.
don't go there.
You
Don't
brought
Just
the
go.
wait.
Cowboys into this.
Just wait. It's like, look, it's like my Knicks. Just wait. Like my Jets. Just wait. It's just how it is. It's just how it is with James Harden, and it's a
Just
shame.
say-
'Cause I'm really sounding like a really hardcore James Harden hater right now. It's just screw it. I guess I will be the playoff James Harden. I'm gonna be the hater. We'll see what happens.
Clip it.
Clip it. You got it.
I mean,
wait,
to be
you smell
honest,
that?
man.
You guys
Oh, go
remember
for it.
Philip Stifle? I smell smiles somewhere though. You made him very happy, Dev.
God.
Philip
Listen,
Stifle.
man, we might be some James Harden fans over here, and I'm sorry, Isaiah, but I do actually agree with Devon on this point. I do have the Bucks going to the East, but I will say it would surprise me to see anybody. I mean, maybe the Nets could come out of nowhere as if they aren't, on paper. That should just be it should be the Brooklyn on papers at this point, because the Nets themselves are such a big question mark that, at the end of the year, we could be just looking, oh, yeah, they're obviously the best team in the East. What were we thinking? We're all dumb. But do I expect that? No. What I expect is to see a Bucks and 76ers Eastern Conference Finals.
It's crazy too, right? For the Nets, where you have a team that, let's say Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are completely committed. I just feel like it's the same exact team that they had last season. They're starting five: Kyrie, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant. Ben Simmons finally gets on the court, and then Nick Claxton down low. But it just feels like it's the same game where Kevin Durant in the playoffs is going to be forced to take like 25, 30 shots, and you're going to get like three guys on Kevin Durant, and he's still not going to pass the ball. And they're going to live and die by Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant, don't get me wrong, one of probably the three greatest players in the NBA right now, if not number one or two, but you cannot win with just one player. We've seen that year after year.
I was going to say, the Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, that whole team coming back, it's almost like two parents who are staying together for the kids. Like, it's definitely not a healthy relationship, but where they're trying it out, seeing how it works, seeing if they can get Ben Simmons, back get him through college again. Maybe he'll actually try and make the NCAA tournament, not like he did at LSU. My point more so, Sans, is that like the Nets are the biggest wild card in the East. The biggest wild card in the NBA, and who knows? We could see them in the finals, or we could see them as a play-in team. Who knows?
It's fairly possible. I don't mean to like use preseason all the time, but Nick Claxton, even last year, like he continues to get better. That might be like a little sneaky. I mean, we knew he was decent, but like if we get any type of production out of him with Ben Simmons, like looking like, I mean, I can't say I saw much from the preseason game with him, but I expect him to settle in, and he's just a great defender. I'm living for this Nets versus 76ers series. That I will tell you. I need to see it in the playoffs.
Anything else you guys want to talk about today? Anything on your mind?
I don't think so. I got my therapy session in with the Lakers. I got to rant about James Harden. I got everything off my chest, but I'll tell you what, with the regular season coming up, we've got to be able to do these every single week. I love doing these with you guys, and we'll make sure we're tuned in. We're going to set a set schedule this week, I think, on doing either Mondays or Tuesdays around this same time. So be sure to check out theathleteshub.org. Make sure to check out the content that Gary, Isaiah, and myself are putting out there. I think we're going to end up putting together, just like we did last year, a 2022 to 23 NBA season preview, where we're going to answer our own survey, and then we'll be able to bounce back and forth with those. That's going to be a good time. So make sure you get your popcorn ready. But yeah, that's all I've got.
And you've heard it here first, guys. Isaiah Hansen believes that Kyle Kuzma is better than playoff Harden.
Yeah,
and with that,
I had THC there too.
I am so excited for the post show for them to just both yell at each other about this for the next 5 minutes. Yes. Thank you guys all for coming on. Appreciate it. Go be sure to follow us on all of our socials. They've been scrolling across the bottom of your screen there for a little bit, but yeah, from Gary, Dev, and Isaiah, peace out.